David, yes.
I'll
Good.
make a brief comment. I just wanted to express great interest in Tim's discussion of prizes, research prizes as an alternative to patents. I don't necessarily feel that patents are inherently evil, just that they're one particular mechanism for recompensing an inventor or a company that chooses to make an investment. And in some ways, they're a fairly artificial method when you stop and think that simply by legislating an extension of patent life, shortening or lengthening a patent life by a few years, you can make or break an industry. It's just a little bit arbitrary and artificial. And so the idea that there may be other alternatives for rewarding industry for the risks that they take is very appealing to me, in that it could be made much more direct instead of this roundabout route of generating a revenue stream for industry by this somewhat rickety mechanism. Instead, try to make it much more direct and put your cards on the table about what it is that you're paying for. So I'm very interested in that particular mechanism and related ones.
Thank you. Stuart? Yes.
Just one of the things I wanted to maybe disagree about to try and get some discussion going. Gable's diagram, I think it was picked up by somebody in the audience about taxpayers leading to science, leading to research, leading to products, and back to taxpayers. I mean, one of the criticisms that I was trying to get across in my work, in my talk, was around it's not just about products and technologies. Science generates useful information which can input into policy, and that's an extremely important aspect. It can input into public information in terms of informing lifestyle choices. It's part of culture, as John talked about at the beginning. And I think this is one of the problems with focusing too much on the industry side of things, is that we're looking for the product, we're looking for the technology rather than looking at the broader benefits. And I think this is where the research agenda gets too skewed to what technologies can we produce and how can we make money out of this somehow because of the constraints that the economic system imposes on us. And I think science is much broader than that, and we should use it much more broadly than that.
Do you, Gabor?
I was by no means saying that science has much broader consequences than returning products to society, but I think that is also one of the things that it should do, because I think that is also one of the reasons why taxpayers can understand that they want to fund basic research. So for all the other reasons, it's very important, but ultimately, I think it's also very beneficial for society if they actually get the cures and therapies to cure their diseases, because at the end of the day, whatever else we talk about, humans are just like any other animals, and the only reason that we're actually here on this earth is probably biology. So in very simplistic terms, although we have developed certain societal cultures of how to deal with each other, we're basically here to reproduce, and everybody wants to live as long as possible a healthy life. So actually having that aspect on top of all the other things and all the other reasons why we have basic research, I think is very important. I was by no means saying that that's the only one. One comment to patents. I agree with you, but historically, it also has to be mentioned that the whole patenting scheme, when it was developed for a totally different reason, and the reason was that the state wanted you to share your inventions with them, so you disclose it to the state, so they might be able to use it for something, and in return they gave you a certain exclusivity. So the reason that patenting was originally introduced was actually to share information with sort of, the larger organ. That system is now digressed into a certain direction, is historic, but the original concept behind patenting was a completely different one.
Tim?
Yeah, I just want to pick up on that actually, this business about why patents were there. I think that actually you don't need that incentive anymore, because in the past there were very few scientists and they really could sit on, we saw some examples until they were dead, basically, and nobody was going, it wasn't going to get revealed. But today, there are so many scientists. Scientists live in fear that if they don't reveal it, someone else reveal it first, and they won't get the credit for it. And so actually, the driving force to release information is there. You don't need the patent system for that. The patent system has become a system of industrial regulation to manage industry instead, and that's the problem when it starts to interact and interfere with the scientific process. And so, yeah, it's a mechanism for rewarding, but you can implement it in multiple ways. There's just one other thing, though, the business of, Paul mentioned you mentioned CERN and 3.1 billion, and after Paul's question, I do kind of feel the biologists have been cheated, because we were doing petabytes now too. It's not however,
Tim has many slides, I remember, to show this.
I'm not a physicist.
however, we shouldn't, although I frankly don't think we've got very much out of space research, whatever they claim we've got out of it. It is, what's science for? Some of it is exploration, just pure, and we don't know what will come out of it, and we don't really want to tie science down to be completely narrow. There was a great anecdote from the boss of Fermilab in the US, which is one of these centers like CERN, when he was visited by somebody from the US military, and this general said, "So what does this contribute to the defense of the United States?" And the director said, "Nothing, it just makes the United States more worth defending."
Is anybody else ready to come in yet? Yes, okay. I think it's not working.
And now, yeah, perfect. So on the last point, Henri Poincaré, who is a French mathematician, in one of his articles, he says, "I'm doing this and demonstrating this, not because it will have this benefit or it will be useful to this or that. It's for the honor of the human spirit somehow." It's just, these things sound very old-fashioned. But again, there is a word that comes again and again, which is benefit to society. Under the word benefit to society, you can put many things. So it can be an instrument for rhetoric in politics, and it can be an instrument for anything, basically. The problem is that for basic research, we can expect that our species can do something that is useless to our survival, that is useless to our comfort, and that looks like art. Why shouldn't we continue funding science also as a form of expression for building a civilization, and not just something that will be of use to this or that afterwards?
What's the art budget compared with the science budget? It's quite small.
Gabor, then Tim. Gabor.
What I would say to that is that if you look at the percentage of basic research that in some form is commercialized, it is a minute fraction. So we're by no means talking, and I don't think anybody is putting forward the thesis that basic research is being totally embraced by a commercial drive. The vast majority of the basic research that is still done today is sort of free in a certain sense. I mean, you get funded by the public or whatever, so it's not totally free, but there's not a commercial interest. It's basically, there is a Russian proverb which says that basic research is the art of using taxpayers' money to fulfill your curiosity. And I think that the vast majority of the basic research that is done is exactly that. Now, that once in a while, and this is what we do at AMBL, there is not a single scientist is forced to commercialize. No one is forced to hand in their publications. We don't screen them. It is their decision. If they feel that they would actually like to hand in an invention record, they are free to do so. People at the EBI, if they say, well, I've come up, with an algorithm which is going to give a search tool which is 100 times better than Google, but I want to actually put it out in open source and make it available to everyone. That's fine. They can do that. We are not going to stop them. But if they say, well, we could do that, but if a commercial entity actually wants to use it, then why should they actually get it for free if they want to earn money on it? So if we can